So, 7 o'clock, we'll call it to order. Welcome, everybody. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Under new business, I'd just like to update the board on just the status of the Act 46 lawsuit.
So, update from the superintendent. Yes.
Approving payables.
Oh, yeah. We have to put, it can be, we're going to have a motion at, like, probably after consent agenda or before to actually approve the payables, because we're operating now, so we have payables that are being reviewed.
Okay.
And that'll get added as a standing item. Anything else?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Members of the public, if you're here for something that's on the agenda, then I would ask that you wait till then to speak, but if there's something else or you're here for something else, now's your time. Okay. Anybody have any correspondence? Nope. All right, new business. We have additional boiler bond paperwork that needs to be signed, right, Lori?
Yes, you do. I need a motion to approve the general obligation bond resolution as it is in the form presented to the West River Ed.
Is this whole thing the resolution certificate general obligation?
Yes, I have it, and it's all marked up for you where to sign.
Okay. So
There's a lot of signatures.
it's just the formulaic bank paperwork authorizing, with allowing the board to borrow the money that we need to borrow to put the bond in. We did something, right? But we didn't do this.
Right.
We did some of the paperwork, but we missed this.
Right.
There's
well,
a
not
loan.
miss this. It's
This is additional?
now it's time to
Executed.
say that you will pay it back.
I guess we're good for it.
Yeah. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the resolution and certificate for general obligation.
So I sort of wrote it out there. So.
Oh, yes.
Motion to approve the general obligation bond resolution as in the form presented to the West River Board. And Mike made the
second
motion.
that.
Al will second. Any discussion of it?
It's in exactly as
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, the ayes have it. So this is going to get passed down and there,
Nope, I just want to
No?
explain. Red is
Oh.
board.
okay,
Okay, green is treasurer, blue is clerk. Okay?
okay. So Al, you're blue, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Who's clerk?
True.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Do I have to sign both?
You do.
Yep, okay.
I,
Red is board, blue is clerk,
Blue. All right.
green is
one more.
treasurer.
I have one more
One more?
quick thing.
Sure.
One more quick thing, which is good news. I don't often get to
Wait,
bring
good news from the
really
business
good
office.
news. But we applied for and received $38,800 from the Stratton Foundation. $28,000 of it is to go towards Provision 2.
Ooh.
So, and the other is Moving Mountains, which also helps with different things that that West River will do, and then $5,000 for the food shelf.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to explain?
Yeah, who applied on our behalf and all that stuff?
So Lori Langdon in our office applied on our behalf and has been working actually pretty closely with the Stratton Foundation. I'm sure you're aware that if you have kids in schools, that they got new sneakers. So she was also a big part of that. She's in our business office. And as far as Provision 2 is concerned, it means that we are feeding, in West River, we are feeding all the students for free. And it's a pilot program. And the Stratton Foundation feels very strongly about feeding kids in school. And they decided to support this pilot program by donating $28,000 towards it. And we had estimated about roughly a $50,000 gap between of what it would cost to feed all the students for free. So that takes care of half of the gap, or more than half.
Wow,
Yeah.
thank you.
So thank the Stratton Foundation.
Stratton.
Go
Thank you,
golfing. I
Lori.
think they're doing a golfing tournament. So, yes.
All right. That's really awesome news. It's fantastic. Okay. So, the Windham tuition waiver, we had talked about this at our last meeting, and we had tasked Bill to talk with the attorney, and we have, you want to report? Or we have the answer back from the attorney, that, a K-6, the decision that our attorney recommends that we limit the duration and the scope, meaning just the 2019-2020 school year and, either 6th grade or K-6 or whatever, but that we limit it. The K-6 is actually an option, but it does widen the area of uncertainty, in terms of potential students and additional costs in the area of special ed or 504. It also does open up an argument of grandfathering, for subsequent years. But, again, if we limit it, and we're very upfront about this being a one-year deal because of the unique situation, that does strengthen the argument against it, but we could be opening ourselves to that potentially. So, again, it's, the advice is essentially recommendation to limit it in both duration and scope. So that's our legal advice. We had not made a motion to do that, but we've had a lot of discussion. So, there we have it. Questions, comments, motions? Drew?
I'll make a motion. That the,
Nope, I have the exact.
Oh, he has it. He has
yes, I
it.
do. The Board of School Directors waive tuition costs for non-resident students enrolling in grades K through 6 for the 2019-2020 school year. Parents or guardians enrolling in such non-resident students under this waiver shall be advised the waiver of tuition costs for the 2019-2020 school year only.
I'm just
Okay.
giving it to the minute taker.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Discussion. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, within that framework, all the elementary schools and the students, do we currently have any tuition students attending who will now be free? And if so much, what's the financial implication of that going to be?
Do we have any elementary tuition students? I didn't.
We do not have K through 6 tuition students.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned just now the unique situation that we're in this one year. There is no mention, I don't think, in this of, it speaks specifically to the school year, but it doesn't say what's unique.
The uniqueness of the situation is twofold, really. It's the transition, it's the creation of the true middle school where we've added 6th grade, and there are students who would make that move that, if they were part of our district that aren't, that would be making the move the next year. And then additionally, there was the decision as to whether Windham would be included in the West River District went out very long and didn't allow people to plan and make sort of those arrangements. So, and we've had a number of requests for this. So that's really the unique.
So I recognize that and understand it. My question is does that need to be referenced in this motion? That this is a unique situation and this is why? Due to the merger or anything. Does that help us as we're trying to limit the scope to this 1 year and keep us from, it's just a question that I put out there because I recognize the reason why we're even having this conversation is a bit unique. I don't think we would have this conversation if it weren't for the unique situation, and yet this motion doesn't speak to the unique situation, and 5 years down the road, you're gonna forget what the reason was, maybe.
So the specificity from the attorney is that the motion that Mr. Hazelton just made is exactly the way the motion should be, but the advice of the attorney is also to get into the minutes exactly this discussion that you two are having, so it's very specific as to why the motion is made,
Okay.
the uniqueness of the motion.
Okay.
So I think your conversation just now, as long as we capture it and we have it on tape, I think is what
Great.
the suggestion of the
That
attorney.
satisfies me. I just have concerns that, you know, we look at minutes down the road. I have looked at many minutes from years ago and think, what the heck did we mean?
Well, and I think
I
it'll
wanna
be
make sure-
important next time when we check to make sure that we've got what we want.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
I just want to add to what Emily said. That is where that is sweet.
It is.
There's
Yes.
so many times
So
that we've
great.
referenced something in Townsend. Well, what was meant? But now that we have the videos, we can go back through those and see the real intent of the discussion and really the way it works. So that's a wonderful tool.
It is.
I agree. Thank
Very
you.
valuable.
Okay, I have a question. So this doesn't say it's anything where it's exclusive to the kids from Windham to come up here for the 6th grade. So if 5 families from Wardsboro decide, well, we're good, you know, we have choice, we send our 7th graders up to Leland and Gray, well, we have one coming in the 5th grade. So that can happen there too, in any other town that wants to send their 6th graders here, they can all send them tuition free.
Yes.
Under that motion, any K through 6 resident of Vermont could attend for free.
Okay. So you do realize that you might have to add more staffing if this goes out of control.
I would say that you are making a valid point that, depending on the reaction to this.
Well, the reality from the people that are, made the requests is they're gonna be going up there, and it's not fair that they don't get the same 6th grade education that the rest of the middle schoolers are getting, as part of the argument, from what I understand. So that argument would pertain to any other town that would tuition students to Leland and Gray this year. So we could potentially be pulling in every 6th grader from every tuitioning town up to Leland and Gray for free next year.
They do have a good program here, so that may be possible.
Yeah, well, you don't know if they have a good program here, because this is the first year of a 6th grade program, so we'll find out, pretty sure.
I appreciate it.
It is a risk. It is a risk of something that we could take, but it's also very late in the planning year. And, you know, it's not like we're gonna publicize this and go out and try and game students. This is,
You're publicizing it right now, Joe.
you ever go see how many views this gets? It's not that broad of public. You know, we're not looking to
But it is
recruit
valuable,
these
Joe.
students. Yes, it's very valuable, but it's
Oh,
not,
okay, now,
it's
let's
not
not
highly
go there
rated.
now you're insulting.
not insulting at all. I just don't think that many people really want to watch us. It's not a recruiting attempt. It's just that's how.
I understand that point, I'm just,
Gotcha. Yes, ma'am.
If no one else has a comment, I have one more.
Yeah, it's fine.
Related to that,
We're red, right?
wonderful possibility that could happen that was just stated. Because frankly, I think there are, in this one year,
No, that's Vermont. It's
some positives about that possibility. But setting that aside,
scared me.
while no matter how remote I think the possibility is, does it make sense to put in there any limitations? So that's my question. I'm sure you
That's a
have an
good
answer
question.
for it.
Yeah, I would
Have
say.
that on record too.
Yeah, no, that's outstanding. So essentially, this falls under the same operations that we have under school choice of limitations, of what we have set for class sizes. So for example, we are expecting 29 6th graders. And my expectation is that we would want 18 per class, so that would be 36. So once we got to 7 requests, it would be up to the superintendent to deny that, because that is in our policy about the limitation.
Excellent.
The same thing would be that if a third grader wanted to attend a school that was already in our range of maximum, I would say, well, you can't attend this school, but you could attend this school, just like we did under school choice.
Okay. That answers my
Oh, that's good to know.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Okay. Any other discussion, thoughts, questions? We ready to vote?
Sure.
Okay. All in favor of the motion to allow the one-year tuition waiver, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, the motion carries. Thank you,
And
folks.
just to be clear, since we have two people that have made that request, so the procedure, you would just need to contact the school that you would like to enroll in and cite this meeting. And you would enroll your student as you would normally enroll your student. And if you have any challenges or difficulties, you can contact my office.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Ken, I don't think
The-
you got one of these. We hand one of those, Ken.
Oh.
Right, you on to me?
I don't have one of those. Yeah, we're on to you.
C.
There you go.
Got one.
Okay. I just wanted to update the board on a couple progress in a couple legal matters that the board is involved in. One is universally large, that the Vermont Supreme Court has denied last opportunity to stay the implementation of Act 46 right before July 1st. So I just wanted to provide that article to you guys so you knew that on a global scale. And then specific to West River, the attorneys that you guys engaged did participate in a couple different court hearings, and the request by the other party to add West River to the lawsuit, that is still ongoing, was denied. So West River is not going to be a part of this lawsuit that references, that is going towards the Supreme Court. So, that was it. Just wanted to keep you guys well aware.
Thank you. Any questions about that? Okay. We'll keep watching. Okay, on to the old business. I know Meg sent out a doodle poll. I did not get a chance to check today to see if you've responded about dates for the retreat, but if you haven't, please respond.
Never received it.
Yeah.
We'll have to check. Yeah, okay.
I've been wondering if I'm not on that emailing list, because that's not the first email that I haven't received.
Well, I know you get the ones from me because
Yeah.
I go in, I don't use the mailing list, I put everybody in, but I will check the mailing list.
I will take care of that. Yeah.
So everybody but Leanne, if you haven't responded to the doodle poll, please check. And once we firm up the date, then we'll come up with an agenda and actually a site and all of that. It'll,
Everybody has not.
what? I didn't
I
think,
just pulled it up, but
okay.
there haven't been. Not everybody has.
Not everybody has responded. I don't want to call anybody out, I'm just reminding you.
Looks like Rob built one day.
The only other thing, and I didn't really think about this until just the beginning of the meeting, so, and it's not really adding it, but it is an old business ongoing thing. With the, adding the 6th grade to the middle school and that whole transition, I know, there's a lot of interest at the board level of how that's going and sort of keeping an eye on it and making sure that the students are blending well and that things are happening. And I don't have any ideas about how this works yet, but I'm sort of wondering if we don't want to maybe task Bill and Bob to put their heads together and come up with a way to sort of give us monthly updates once that transition starts, so that we can just sort of monitor that situation.
Well, we'll
Yes.
have the school advisory councils, which will have middle school and high school parent on it.
Right.
So maybe that will be one avenue to get information back to the school.
Have them report
have
Yeah,
that,
have that group report out
report
on
out to
where
us.
we're at. I mean, you
Okay.
could usually be more formal with myself and with Bill, but I think that would be, well, the kids involved are gonna be high school kids, not middle school kids, but the parents will be, at least one will be a middle school parent, will be a middle school teacher on it.
Okay,
So that could be a starting place,
okay, well, we can do that and,
structure that you guys have to have anyway, so.
right, and sort of talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And if anybody thinks of like things that they want to sort of keep their finger on a pulse of while this happens, because I know we're all interested in seeing this work well, and it's new, and there were concerns about how it would work, and while I believe it will work wonderfully, I do kind of want to watch it. Cool. Okay. Anybody want to add anything to that? Specifics or more?
I just have a question for Bob. Is there any changes at the administration level up to high school?
There is.
There is, okay. I
We got an
heard.
executive session today that you were talking about.
Okay.
Yep.
The students already talked.
No, I didn't know, well, it just says executive session, so I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows why we're going into executive session.
Well, and we'll
It's
come
a
out.
contractual
When we
thing.
come out, we will.
yeah, when we come out,
They'll know anyway.
they'll know anyway, right? Okay, so,
Before you move on.
yes?
Yeah, so kind of adding to that, we did talk a little bit about this at kind of the end of our last meeting. Just making sure that we have an appropriate climate and safe environment for the kids. Just what kind of discipline structure there's going to be, are there be any changes to that? Yeah, so those are definitely some of the things that we want to make sure that the kids have the best and safest transition. It certainly was one of the concerns of parents in the community when you bring in sixth graders to this school. So just give
I
it
can
a
tell you
sound.
two things about that. One, after we had the move-up day, followed by the move-up night for parents, I didn't hear a single negative comment at the parent information night. Everything that we heard was that kids had a great time when they were here. During the move-up, everybody seemed to feel really positive about it. We answered a lot more questions about specifics. Schedules we're still tweaking right now. Power School, with the year turnover, has some implications on our scheduling ability. We're working through that. So it has nothing to do with the staff or the schedule, it has to do with Power School. And that was part one, and then part two was that the staff, the middle school teams met, the 7th and 8th grade team met the week the school got out for extra days to do some planning around that very issue, structures and stuff, and then the 6th grade team met. The new teacher wasn't able to meet, she was still teaching, but she joined us the week after and met as well as a team and did the exact same thing as a group of 6th graders with the other teachers who would be in the 6th grade signing them as well. So we had a lot of crossover with people, and they spent a good 2 weeks together planning what the things are gonna look like. So a lot of work went down. Yeah, so we're very pleased with how that went.
Yes, Trish?
And something else that we talked about sort of offline was, what are the expectations, or setting expectations as a board to sort of push back to the school, to the administration level to say, now we're a new board, this is who we are, we've taken, we're in control of the West River, and we want to make sure that these are the standards that we as a board would like to see, or not saying that we're handing down edicts, but just to say maybe it's during our summer retreat that we just talk about, hey, what are things that we as board members or parents or community members or whatever seen, witnessed, heard, that we're kind of like, maybe we should change the, what am I trying to say? The outlook on that, and how do we communicate that out as a board?
I mean, I would suggest that after last year's retreat that you guys had, where you started developing the value statements around, you have sort of a K-6, 7-12 values, that maybe the middle school values needs to be developed that speaks specifically to the middle school years.
Thank you.
And then that would
That's
be
what I was
a
getting towards.
guiding set of principles that we would implement at our level.
Right.
Based on the values that the community has, based on your work.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest.
Yes, Emily.
And following up on that, I think part of that, which is going to be really important, is sort of a timeline for monitoring. And so, over the time, we'll probably have this conversation over many meetings, but thinking yourself, Bob, about what a timeline would be for us for when we would need to check in on certain aspects of it. Because I think it's really important that the board gets in place monitoring of this, not just the sixth graders move.
Agreed.
I see it as a K-12, so I look at you, Bill, more, and I would like to be thinking, we don't need to answer any of this right now, but I would like us to be thinking as a board about what it is we're going to be looking at, what our expectations are as a board for our K-12 district, and what that timeline will be for us monitoring what our expectations are, and our goals, and our values, and all those things. So it's a pretty big conversation, and I hope that we do have an opportunity to talk about that during our retreat especially.
I mean, this is why we created a new district, to be able to
Exactly.
look at these things.
So I want to be intentional about it, is what I guess I'm saying.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. You're planning the retreat for me right here, for us right here. Okay, if you have more, please add, but if you think of stuff, email me. Well, this probably lends itself to a good discussion at a retreat all day long, and we can build on the discussion that way.
Can I add one more thing? Sorry,
Yes.
I don't mean to keep holding it up, but I was just thinking about not just our expectations for our district, but our expectations for our board as well, and how we are to operate, what our expectations are of how we operate as a board, and how we represent ourselves to our community and to our schools and students. So, and families, obviously. Thanks.
Thanks.
I don't want to go into the weeds too much, but as you guys are still developing policy, one thing to consider is the middle school will be having its own separate PTO. And I know that you have taken ownership of other PTOs that exist, presumably in the elementary schools. High school that hasn't had one, so I'm not sure if there's policy around that would guide how a PTO would run. And I don't know, maybe it's not something there's policy about. I'm a high school guy, typically middle school guy, so it's not something that's been in my area of expertise, but I know that their parents, particularly the sixth grade parents, through this whole sixth grade trip aspect, want to have that level of connection, and so we're working to develop that group of people who are interested, and one of them
Okay.
might be on your board. I won't out anybody, but I'm just saying, there might be some.
Okay.
So you might have a direct.
Might have a new policy committee volunteers, what you're saying.
Not my place to say.
Okay, yeah, good. I don't know either. I high school boards before this, so I'm a high school guy too.
But having some, if you're gonna have things run, so that you want them to have consistency in how they run from the
Right,
volunteers to the
right.
level.
Yeah. No, that makes good sense. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all. Okay, so payables get reviewed?
I reviewed. Once
Did you
somebody
get a
else
second?
needs to review. I do need a second.
Oh, we need a second signature. We need a second reviewer on payables.
Yes, whoever wants to do.
Don't all volunteer.
Sorry.
You've been a volunteer already.
Okay.
We don't have anything for the consent agenda because we're on minutes.
Okay. We don't have any minutes for the consent. Okay, so we don't have a consent agenda. All right, so we need an executive session for a contractual matter. We just need a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
All right, so we got a motion and a second over there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Will this be long?
No.
Okay. This probably won't be long, and there will be action afterwards.
Motion, because
There will be
we
a-
have to do the payroll still.
Right.
So there will
Well,
be-
then there will be
please
a
stand
motion
by.
after executive session, too. So we're out of executive session, and we just need a motion to approve the contracts as
So moved. Seconded.
discussed and direct me to sign. Mike, Ken, Mike. All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the contracts as discussed and authorize the chair to sign them. Any discussion on that? Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right, the motion carries. So now we just have payables. They've been reviewed by 2 people and they're all okay? All right? So is there a front sheet that says like, bills and pay orders in the amount of X?
There probably was.
West River pay order
We're
number.
not in that order anymore.
It's usually right on the top.
Yeah, bills and pay order is.
This is payroll. Tallies it.
You got it, Emily?
No, he didn't give us a total sheet this time.
Total should be down after the last check.
So it's like 1, 2, and 5, right? Or is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? There were numbered sheets I saw.
Just hand it over to him.
There you go, you figured it out.
I didn't look.
He usually gives us a great summary sheet.
That's the payroll.
Okay. So we have pay order number 1, pay order number 2. Yeah, you're right. And this is AP voucher 5, but it doesn't. No, we didn't get the top sheet. We haven't got them yet.
So do you have the value of 1, 2, and 5?
Yeah, 1 is 3,000. Is it checks issued? Deposit amount. It's the total of these 2, isn't it? Because this is a check that was cut and this is a deposit that was cut for payroll, so it's the total of those 2.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Al's on it.
Well, but these people didn't get checks, they got deposits.
Right.
There's,
It's direct deposit.
It's direct
versus wire
deposit.
check.
Yeah.
Oh, so is
So
this
it's
payroll?
23, yes.
If this is payroll, it shouldn't be pay orders. It's pay. Pay is automatically contractable or contractual, so we don't have to vote on those. We don't have to vote on those.
We have to approve them.
Yeah, we have to
We
approve
gotta
it.
approve these.
Yeah, well, approving them just means that you have the 2 board members sign them.
To approve, you need the.
Right, you don't put the amount out because it's already public record and it's already contractual. If it's bills to vendors,
Right. That's pretty sure you need the amount.
And this is pay order number 2. Good job, Ken. Which is,
I've been doing it for 12 years.
Me too. You don't see the amount in your minutes?
On the pay orders you do, on the payroll you don't have to on payroll. Payroll doesn't even have to be approved by
so the motion would be to approve pay order number 1,
Yeah.
which is payroll, pay order number 2, which is benefits, and pay order number 5, which is an AP voucher, for checks in the amount of, $1,091,908.
1 million.
1091
Yeah.
908.21.
Okay. Number 1 is payroll, number 2 is benefits, and number 5 is AP voucher for $1,091,908.21.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the motion that's been reviewed by Drew and Trish, and everything is in order. So we just,
You make a
all in,
motion, you're saying, yeah.
Can I make a comment?
yes.
Given that there was a little confusion here at the next meeting, I hope we'll have a conversation around what our expectations are
Yeah.
payroll and with pay orders.
Yep.
We obviously have, many of us have come from different boards doing them different ways, and I would like to make sure that West River Board does it the way West River Board wants. And I want to be as transparent as possible with the public. So,
Yeah, I mean, I know what I've seen in the past on the board that I served on previously was sort of a list of everything we're approving with a total amount and then a bottom line amount.
so that's, yeah, we should make sure that we're
So,
clear
yeah,
about
we
what
can
we-
have that conversation.
Thank you.
There's another
You're
topic
welcome.
for your retreat, Joe.
Oh, we'll have that
I
at the
don't
next
think we need
meeting.
retreat on this.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been moved and seconded by Drew and Trish, right?
Yeah.
To approve those. Any discussion other than Emily? And we should uniform this? Make this more uniform? All right, all in favor of approving the bills and pay orders as discussed, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. Any other business, folks?
Adjourned. Second.
All right. Mike moved to adjourn, Ken seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Let's get this thing rolling.
We're out. Thank you all.